While Jack and Billy argue endlessly about how to deal with Victor, Sally Spectra is secretly worried about Billy's safety. Having had experience dealing with Victor Newman, Sally knows his power and ruthlessness. She understands that challenging him puts Billy in serious danger. Sally does not want to lose Billy, for whom she has begun to develop deep feelings. However, all her attempts to convince him are brushed aside. To Billy, his plan is not just a choice but a mission. He even reveals to Sally that he is looking for new allies to strengthen his plot. This makes Sally even more worried, as she realizes that Billy is going further than he can control. Kyle Abbott, potential factor in the war. Another character drawn into this vortex is Kyle Abbott. As Jack's son, Kyle constantly struggles between loyalty to his father and personal ambition. Billy sees in Kyle a potential ally, someone who can understand and sympathize with his resentment toward Victor Newman. While Jack is vehemently opposed to Kyle's involvement in any of Billy's schemes, this does not stop Billy from trying to convince his nephew. Kyle may feel tempted by the opportunity, especially since he has his own grievances with Victor. However, Kyle's involvement will not only increase the tension between him and his father, but could also plunge the Abbott family into a deeper crisis. Victor Newman, a rival not to be underestimated. Although Victor Newman does not directly appear in the debate between Jack and Billy, his shadow looms over them all. Victor is not only a powerful businessman, but also someone who can grasp the weaknesses of his opponents and turn them to his advantage. Billy's moves cannot be hidden from Victor, and there is no guarantee that Victor will not retaliate with more ruthless strategies. If Billy fails, not only will he lose his chance for revenge, but he could also cause unforeseen consequences for the Abbott family. On the other hand, if Billy's plan succeeds, it could upset the entire balance of power in Genoa City. The price of revenge. The battle between Jack and Billy is not just about Victor Newman. It is a confrontation between reason and emotion, between responsibility and personal pride. Each character has their own reasons for acting, but no one can escape the spiral of choices and consequences. Can Jack stop Billy before things go too far? Will Billy find the allies he needs, or will he face isolation and failure? Most importantly, how will Victor Newman respond to these conspiracies? Genoa City once again becomes a battlefield of intrigue and conflict. In a world where every decision has a price, who will win and who will face the consequences? Stay tuned for more on The Young and the Restless, where intense emotions and unexpected twists never fail to surprise. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Jolie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. In the world of The Young and the Restless, where power struggles and deceit are commonplace, nothing was more shocking than Sharon Newman being accused of the brutal murder of Heather Stevens. The chilling accusation came in the most unexpected of ways, through a technique as controversial as it was dangerous: hypnosis. The scene unfolded in the courtroom, where Sharon's fragile state of mind was exploited by those who sought to manipulate the truth. The guilt that hung over her, though unjust, made her the perfect target for a cunning manipulation that left the entire Genoa City in shock. Yet, behind the scenes, the real mastermind was already plotting something far more sinister. Ian Ward, the devious and dangerous figure who had always lurked in the shadows, found himself shaken by Sharon's potential exposure. These psychological games he played were far from over. With his partner in crime, Jordan, by his side, a far darker plan was set into motion. This was no longer about merely framing Sharon. This was about ending her life. A deadly plan unfolds. Sharon had no idea she was already in grave danger. Always vulnerable, caught between her chaotic emotions and the manipulations of those around her, she became the perfect victim. Ian and Jordan saw their opportunity, devising a lethal plan to poison Sharon. Their aim was to ensure her death came suddenly, without warning, leaving the entire town in confusion and mourning. Their twisted excitement grew as they set this horrifying plan in motion, convinced that Sharon's death would bring them one step closer to the control they craved. Sharon's tragic demise. As the poison took effect, Sharon's condition worsened. Her body betrayed her, though she was unaware of the danger she was in. The illness overtook her in a matter of hours, leaving those around her puzzled by the sudden collapse. To the naked eye, Sharon's death seemed like just another tragic chapter in her turbulent life. Her history of emotional struggles, past battles with mental health, and strained relationships created the perfect cover for a death that would remain unsolved. But Sharon's death wasn't just another tragedy, it was a statement. Ian and Jordan reveled in the chaos they caused, knowing Genoa City would never be the same. A community in mourning. News of Sharon's death spread quickly, sending shockwaves through the lives of everyone who knew her. Victor Newman, always the protective father, was devastated. Sharon was more than the mother of his children. She was a part of his life, a woman who had endured so much. Jack Abbott, ever the calculated businessman, was shaken as well. However, his grief quickly turned into determination as he began piecing together the implications of Sharon's death. He knew someone powerful was behind it and vowed not to rest until the truth was uncovered. Suspicion and investigation. Sharon's sudden decline raised red flags. Her recent good health made her death suspicious, prompting Victor and Jack to launch their own investigations. The truth behind Sharon's tragic end became the focal point of Genoa City, with everyone questioning the events leading up to her death. The shocking truth revealed. As the investigation unfolded, Genoa City was rocked by the revelation of Sharon's true cause of death. Friends, family, and even enemies were left in disbelief. The cruelty of Ian and Jordan's plan became clear, revealing Sharon's death as a calculated act of murder. Victor and Jack, united in their grief and determination, joined forces to bring the perpetrators to justice. Their pursuit uncovered a web of lies, deceit, and manipulation woven over years. They discovered that Sharon's murder was just one of many sinister acts carried out by Ian and Jordan. A reckoning for Genoa City. Ian and Jordan, despite their attempts to flee, would eventually face justice. Sharon's death, though devastating, became the beginning of a reckoning for all those who had manipulated and controlled others in Genoa City. Her life, though tragically cut short, sparked a movement to uncover long-hidden secrets and bring dark forces to light. In the end, Sharon's death left an indelible mark on Genoa City. Her legacy, as both a victim and a symbol of resilience, reminded everyone that darkness, no matter how deeply entrenched, cannot escape the light of truth. The young and the restless spoilers tease that the festive season is almost upon us. This means only one thing, an added dose of drama. Well, it's not like there was any dearth of it previously. Anywho, going by the latest spoilers, Ian Ward and Jordan are aching for some sweet revenge. They already have their target trained on Sharon Newman, and waiting for the right time to take her out for good. However, Sharon is not their only target. Ian and Jordan also want to get their hands on Mariah Copeland and Claire Grace Newman. Oh, and then of course, there is the rest of the Newman clan that our dear villains hate so much. So you see, the list of targets is rather endless. Now, no matter how fueled up for vengeance the duo is, they can't just go around taking down people in broad daylight. What they need is a perfect opportunity and an ambush. The young and the restless spoilers tease that Ian and Jordan might just get that opportunity amid the chaos that is about to hit Genoa City. The soap loves playing out snowstorm storylines that cause characters to get stranded and stuck. Perhaps Y and R will revert to it yet again, and if that happens, it will give the dastardly duo the perfect opportunity to strike. If a snowstorm hits, it could lead to a power failure and a citywide blackout, and, of course, dead phone lines. That would give Ian and Jordan an open playfield to creep into people's houses and launch an unexpected attack. But who will be their first target? Will they try to eliminate Sharon Newman or carry out an abduction plan for Claire? Well, at this point, our guess is as good as yours. Stay tuned to Soap Opera Daily for more The Young and the Restless spoilers to find out what happens next. Meanwhile, who do you think the target will be? In the upcoming episode of The Young and the Restless, the Abbott family finds itself on the brink of a crisis as Jack and Billy clash over their approach to the ever-looming threat of Victor Newman. While Jack advocates for caution and family unity, Billy's thirst for vengeance propels him down a dangerous path that could have far-reaching consequences. Jack and Billy's feud intensifies. The episode opens with a heated argument between Jack and Billy as they debate how to handle Victor's overbearing presence in Genoa City. Billy, fueled by resentment, insists on striking back at Victor, while Jack warns of the potential fallout. Jack's focus is on protecting the family, particularly his son Kyle, and maintaining their integrity. However, Billy views his plan as a mission, an obligation to restore the Abbott family's honor. Sally Spectra's growing concern. Sally Spectra, caught in the crossfire, struggles to manage her fears for Billy's safety. Having first-hand experience with Victor's ruthless tactics, she knows the risks of challenging him. Sally's deepening feelings for Billy make her even more desperate to dissuade him, but her pleas fall on deaf ears. Billy dismisses her concerns, revealing instead that he is actively recruiting allies to fortify his plans. Sally's worry escalates as she realizes Billy may be in over his head, and she remains torn between supporting him and protecting herself. Kyle Abbott, a wild card in the battle. Amidst the turmoil, Kyle Abbott becomes an unexpected figure in the unfolding drama. Billy sees Kyle as a potential ally, someone who shares grievances against Victor. However, Jack vehemently opposes Kyle's involvement, fearing it will exacerbate tensions and lead to further division within the Abbott family. Kyle, torn between loyalty to his father and his personal ambitions, faces a difficult choice. His decision could either bring him closer to Billy's cause or deepen the fractures in the Abbott family dynamic. Victor Newman's unseen power. Though Victor does not make a direct appearance in the conflict between Jack and Billy, his influence looms large. As a master manipulator, Victor is always one step ahead, ready to exploit the weaknesses of his adversaries. Billy's every move is likely under Victor's watchful eye, and any misstep could provoke a ruthless retaliation. Victor's potential response is a constant source of tension, threatening to upend the balance of power in Genoa City and plunge the Abbott family into deeper chaos. The price of revenge. The central theme of the episode revolves around the cost of revenge. While Billy is driven by passion and pride, Jack represents reason and responsibility. Their clash is more than a personal dispute. It is a battle over the future of their family. Can Jack steer Billy away from his destructive path, or will Billy's determination to confront Victor lead to irreversible damage? High stakes for the Abbott family. The stakes have never been higher for the Abbott family. Billy's actions not only risk his own safety, but also jeopardize the unity of the family. Sally and Kyle, drawn into Billy's plans, stand to lose more than they bargained for, from strained relationships to reputational damage. Meanwhile, Jack's steadfast resolve to protect the family is tested as he grapples with Billy's defiance and the potential fallout of Victor's retaliation. As Genoa City becomes a battlefield of intrigue and power plays, every decision carries weighty consequences. Will Billy succeed in his quest for revenge, or will his ambition lead to the Abbott family's downfall? Can Jack hold the family together in the face of mounting tension? The answers lie in this gripping episode of The Young and the Restless, where loyalty, betrayal, and high-stakes drama take center stage. Sharon Newman, a woman who has endured many storms in her life, decides to find the truth about the vague memories related to the fateful car accident she believes she caused. Alan Luron, a famous hypnotist, helps Sharon revisit that important moment. The result is surprising. Sharon was not the one who pushed Phyllis off the road, as she once believed. This discovery releases the burden that has weighed on her for years. However, during a second hypnosis session, Sharon recalls another night, the night Heather Stevens died. In her hazy memory, she sees a figure sneaking into Heather's apartment. Could this be the real killer? Sharon begins to sense danger, and she is not wrong. Ian Ward, a schemer, has secretly plotted to eliminate Sharon because her returning memories could threaten him. Nick Newman's growing concern. Nick Newman, who has always stood by Sharon's side, grows even more worried. He must stop Ian's plot before it's too late. Meanwhile, Ian sets his sights on Tessa. Hearing about Tessa, Mariah, and Claire Newman, Ian devises a plan to manipulate Tessa and draw her into his web of conspiracies. The big question remains, will Tessa, a strong-willed woman, see through Ian's ulterior motives, or will she fall into his trap? Nate's positive news. In another corner of Genoa City, Nate receives a breakthrough in his investigation. Diies, a key figure in his case, finds crucial information and questions Nate about the next steps. This marks a glimmer of hope for Nate, whose story promises more surprises ahead. Diane Jenkins proving herself. Diane Jenkins is determined to prove her worth at Jebba and make her husband, Jack Abbott, proud. Assigned to lead a new division, Diane's task is to revitalize the company's classic products. Surprisingly, she receives support from an unexpected source, possibly Ashley Abbott, with whom she shares a complicated relationship. The Abbott and Newman families unite. While Diane works hard, Jack and Billy Abbott decide to collaborate to face new challenges. Meanwhile, Daniel Romalotti strengthens his bond with his daughter, Lucy. These moments remind us that, despite intrigue and conflict, family remains the strongest support system. Nikki Newman also teams up with Claire Newman on a mysterious plan that could shift the family's power dynamics. The unraveling mystery. Revelations from Sharon's hypnosis session bring things to a climax. The mystery of who snuck into Heather's apartment that night remains unresolved. The more Sharon remembers, the greater the danger becomes. Nick, ever devoted to Sharon, vows to protect her from Ian Ward and the lurking threats. Life in Genoa City is far from peaceful. The characters of the young and the restless continue their quest for truth, love, and safety while battling conspiracies. New secrets emerge, alliances shift, and danger looms. Will Sharon uncover the truth? Can Nick keep her safe? And will Ian's scheme succeed, or will they backfire? Tensions run high in the Abbott mansion as Jack Abbott takes a hard stance against Claire's presence in the family home. Kyle, desperate to protect Claire from the threats she's been receiving from Victor Newman, had hoped his father would understand the gravity of the situation. But Jack is unmoved, suspicions clouding his judgment as he refuses to allow Claire into the Abbott fold. With the late afternoon sun casting long shadows through the grand windows, Kyle is caught in a heart-wrenching dilemma. His father's firm stance on the issue of Claire feels like a betrayal, especially considering the danger she's in. Jack, ever the business-minded patriarch, is concerned about the risks Claire's presence could pose to the Abbott family's security. He warns Kyle that Victor's manipulations might be at play, suggesting that Claire could be a pawn in Victor's scheme to infiltrate their lives and business. Kyle, frustrated and desperate to protect Claire, argues that she is the victim here, not the enemy. He believes that rejecting her would be playing into Victor's hands, only fueling the division and mistrust that Victor thrives on. However, Jack remains resolute, insisting that the family's legacy and safety come first. The idea of Claire being a spy or a tool used by Victor is simply too dangerous to ignore, even if it means alienating his own son. Jack's concerns run deeper than Kyle realizes. He's not just worried about Claire's possible loyalty, but about the threat she could pose to the Abbott family, especially with Victor lurking in the background. Jack points out that Victor has been a long-standing enemy, and he would stop at nothing to gain an advantage, even if it meant tearing Claire apart emotionally. Jack's protective nature leads him to lay down strict boundaries. Claire cannot live at the mansion or work at Jebot until they have more clarity on where her true loyalties lie. Kyle, feeling unheard and rejected, struggles to contain his anger. He is torn between his love for Claire and his desire to prove his commitment to the Abbott family. He argues that his father's mistrust of Claire is ultimately a rejection of him as well, leaving him feeling like an outsider in his own home. The conversation becomes a painful reminder that trust is the foundation of their family, and right now, that trust is being questioned in ways Kyle never imagined. In a moment of vulnerability, Kyle tries to appeal to his father's sense of protection, acknowledging that Jack is acting out of concern for his safety. But Kyle is not ready to let go of his belief in Claire's sincerity. He knows that Victor's manipulations are ruthless, but he refuses to believe that Claire is a part of those schemes. Kyle wants to believe that love and loyalty can prevail, even in the face of suspicion. As the conversation reaches its breaking point, Jack stands firm, reiterating that Claire must prove her loyalty in her own way, without immediate access to the Abbott mansion or the protection of Jebot. Jack insists that true loyalty doesn't need to be rushed or earned quickly. He wants time to see Claire's actions before welcoming her into the Abbott family fold. Feeling both rejected and determined, Kyle realizes that this is just the beginning of a much larger battle. He will have to find a way to prove Claire's loyalty while maintaining the trust of his family. The road ahead is filled with challenges, not only from Victor, but from the deep-seated mistrust in his own family. Kyle decides to give Claire the option to find a new place to stay, explaining Jack's reservations, but he vows to stand by her. Despite the barriers, Kyle believes that love can conquer all, even the shadow of Victor Newman's manipulations. This intense moment between father and son sets the stage for a larger conflict, one that will test both Claire and Kyle's commitment to each other and their place within the Abbott family. With Jack's suspicions firmly in place, the future of Kyle and Claire's relationship hangs in the balance, as they face a world of corporate warfare, personal betrayals, and the ever-present threat of Victor's dark influence. Ian paced the length of the dimly lit warehouse, a deep frown etched into his features. He was furious and frustrated. The entire grand plan had hinged on precision and cooperation, and now, like so many fragile alliances before it, this one showed signs of unraveling. Across the makeshift office space, separated by a rickety table and scattered papers, Jordan stood with her arms folded, glaring at him as if he were the sole reason their grand scheme was starting to fall apart. For weeks, they had worked together with a single goal in mind: revenge, to strike at the very heart of those who had wronged them, and to exploit the vulnerabilities in their enemies' lives. Yet from the start, there had been tension. Ian was a man of carefully laid plans and layered deceptions, while Jordan was more impulsive, driven by rage and the thrill of domination. They had once agreed on the endgame. Now the how and the who of their actions seemed to divide them more deeply than ever. Jordan tapped a manicured finger against her arm. "I want CLA taken out first," she said evenly, each word clipped with precision and contained fury. "She dared to cross me. Anyone who dares to betray me should learn that there's no such thing as a second chance." Ian raised an eyebrow. He'd always considered CLA a peripheral figure, useful once, easily discarded, but Jordan's personal vendetta against her had grown. Perhaps CLA had stepped out of line, refused to cooperate, or shared secrets she shouldn't have. Whatever the case, Jordan's obsession with snuffing out the young woman's life was now threatening the fragile truce between them. Ian had wanted to target Maria's circle first, to break her spirit by kidnapping Tessa and Aria. Yet here was Jordan, insisting on going after CLA, someone who wasn't directly tied to that scenario. Someone currently sheltered under the protective umbrella of the Newman family, watched over by vigilant bodyguards, and most notably, cared for by Kyle. CLA was under constant surveillance. The Newmans didn't take threats lightly, and after recent events, their estate bristled with security, cameras, alarms, guard shifts that rotated too frequently for comfort. Kyle's devotion to CLA only made it worse. He seemed to be at her side around the clock. Gaining access to her would be as delicate as picking a lock inside a rattlesnake's den. "I understand your anger," Ian said, trying to sound reasonable. "But this is not the time for reckless improvisation. CLA is practically encased in Newman security. If we try to take her now, we risk everything. Our previous attempts were dangerous enough." Jordan slammed a hand onto the table, rattling the scattered notes. "You think I'm being reckless? She's already proven she can't be trusted. She knows things about me, about us, information that could compromise our plans. I will not stand by and watch her slip away or worse, talk to someone she shouldn't. We need to eliminate her." Jordan's eyes gleamed with a steely resolution that Ian knew too well. Once she made up her mind, it was difficult to dissuade her. Ian shifted his stance, glancing at the half-drawn blueprint of the Newman property that lay across the table. They had considered a stealth approach months ago, even drafted a few contingency plans for infiltration. Back then, the security had been lighter and the Newmans less on edge. Now, things were different, but perhaps not impossible. He weighed the risks. Killing CLA would send a message both to the Newmans and to anyone else who might think about defying them. It would also satisfy Jordan and perhaps restore a sense of unity to their failing partnership. For now, Ian needed Jordan on his side. Without her, he would lose a valuable ally and resource. Reluctantly, he nodded. "All right," he said quietly. "We target CLA first, but we must be meticulous about this." Jordan's stance relaxed just a fraction. She leaned over the table and traced a route on the blueprint with a slender finger. CLA's bedroom is on the second floor west wing. Kyle has been hovering around her lately, but he can't stand vigil every second. The Newman guards patrol in intervals. If we pick the right time, when Kyle is away, maybe at a business meeting or distracted by some other manufactured crisis, we can slip in. I'll handle the confrontation. I want her to see me when I take that final step. They both knew it wouldn't be easy, but Jordan was creative and fearless, and Ian's mind was a reservoir of cunning. Together, they could orchestrate a diversion, perhaps send a false alarm to the security team, draw them away from the main house. A staged power outage, a sabotage of the camera feed, or some urgent call that forced Kyle to leave CLA's side. Once inside, Jordan planned to bind CLA to a chair, intimate, personal, and unmistakably threatening. CLA would know exactly who had come for her and why. That evening, they put their plan into motion. Ian worked quietly, forging fake messages and hacking into a low-level security feed to loot footage and create blind spots. Jordan prepared her tools of intimidation, duct tape, zip ties, and a small silenced handgun that she would only use if absolutely necessary. For Jordan, the threat was often enough, but she wanted this to be quick and conclusive. CLA wasn't someone she intended to keep around. Just past midnight, when the Newman estate's floodlights cast strange shadows across the manicured lawns, Ian initiated the first part of their ruse. In an upcoming shocking twist on the young and the restless, Ian Ward's manipulative nature reaches new depths as he sets his sights on Tessa. Always the schemer, Ian has made it his mission to exploit every relationship around him to advance his sinister goals. When Ian unknowingly encounters Claire, a friend of Mariah and Tessa, he quickly realizes the potential advantage she presents. This meeting sparks the beginning of a new plot where Ian hopes to form a link between himself and Jordan, using the relationship with Tessa as a stepping stone. While Jordan remains skeptical about Ian's plan, he agrees to help, intrigued by what might unfold. However, Tessa proves to be unlike anyone Ian has encountered before. While Maria is deeply distrustful of Ian due to his history with the cult, Tessa has never met him and has only heard horror stories. With no preconceived notions, Tessa remains neutral, unaware of the danger that lies ahead. Ian, sensing an opportunity, decides to approach Tessa carefully. Realizing that his usual manipulative methods would not work on her, Ian concocts a more subtle and believable plan. He dresses up as a homeless man, understanding that Tessa's compassionate nature would compel her to help someone in need, especially as Christmas approaches. One cold evening, Tessa stumbles upon Ian, now disguised as a pitiful homeless man, shivering on the side of the road. Without hesitation, she invites him into the guild to warm up, offering him soup and coffee. Ian, playing his role to perfection, spins a heartbreaking tale of loss and tragedy, claiming that he once had everything but lost it all. He paints himself as a man down on his luck, and Tessa, with her kind heart, believes every word. As Ian's story tugs at her heartstrings, she begins to trust him, unknowingly falling into his trap. Ian is not just playing the role of a homeless man. He is carefully observing Tessa, noting every detail of her responses and behaviors, searching for weaknesses he can exploit. Tessa, moved by his tragic story, feels a growing responsibility to help him. Ian knows that by maintaining his cover, he can worm his way into her life and use her trust to further his larger, more dangerous plans. As Ian continues to manipulate Tessa, he doesn't forget to seek advice from Jordan, who, despite his doubts, watches Ian's manipulative game unfold with growing curiosity. Ian is determined to use Tessa not just for sympathy, but as a pawn in a much bigger game. He intends to manipulate her into helping him infiltrate deeper into the business and relationships of Genoa City, causing chaos along the way. However, no mask can stay intact forever. The truth about Ian's true intentions will eventually come to light, and when it does, Tessa will be forced to confront the betrayal. The shocking revelation will leave Tessa grappling with feelings of guilt and anger, torn between her desire to help and the realization that she has been deceived. Mariah, who has suffered so much at Ian's hands in the past, will undoubtedly intervene to protect Tessa, but the damage may already be done. As Ian's dark past and evil deeds are exposed, Tessa's world will come crashing down. This revelation will not only affect her relationship with Ian, but will also have a profound impact on her bond with Mariah. The emotional fallout will be intense, as Tessa is forced to reckon with her role in Ian's manipulation. Will she be able to overcome the shock and betrayal? Or will Ian's plans cause irreparable damage to her relationships in Genoa City? The ripple effect of Ian's schemes will affect everyone around him, from Mariah and Tessa to Sharon and others in Genoa City. Ian's ability to manipulate information and use it to sow discord will create deep rifts, particularly between Tessa and Mariah. The ultimate question remains, when the truth is exposed, will Tessa stand strong, or will she be swept up in Ian's twisted game? The explosive confrontation between Tessa and Ian promises to be a defining moment in The Young and the Restless, testing Tessa's emotional strength and her capacity to trust. With new twists and unexpected turns, this storyline will leave fans on the edge of their seats, wondering what the future holds for Tessa, Mariah, and the rest of Genoa City. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Ian Ward will be as giddy as a schoolgirl when he realizes Claire Newman is buddies with Mariah Copeland and Tessa Porter. As far as Ian's concerned, this will be a beautiful opportunity for his agenda to align with Jordan's. Although Jordan won't see the benefits like Ian does, he'll insist on exploiting this friendship anyway, especially when it comes to Tessa. Unlike Maria, Tessa won't fly into panic and rage at the sight of Ian's face. Despite hearing all the horror stories of Mariah's cult days, Tessa has never seen Ian or interacted with him. With that in mind, Y&R spoilers say Ian will plan to strike up a bond with Tessa somehow. Although Ian will point out how charming he can be, he may still need some sort of gimmick to get Tessa's attention. If Ian just behaved like he usually does, Tessa would probably just think some creepy old man was hitting on her, and she'd want no part of that for multiple reasons. Could Ian take a page out of Jordan's playbook and dip into his own bag of disguises? Perhaps Ian could dress like he's down on his luck and play homeless to score some sympathy. Tessa used to be homeless herself, so she'd probably take pity on this poor, lonely stranger who needs a helping hand, especially this close to Christmas. It's easy to imagine Tessa finding Ian outside society and inviting him in to warm up right after they close. Tessa might hand over some free soup and coffee or something along those lines. It'd give Ian a chance to tell some fake sob story and pretend that Tessa is his hero. Tessa would feel connected to Ian and have compassion for him, so she'd fall right into the trap he's setting. No matter how things play out, Ian will indeed dupe Tessa during the week of December 16 to 20. Tessa is about to get fooled and could give Ian another dangerous angle to work as a result. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Tessa will get some shocking updates on who Ian really is down the road, so stick with us for all the stunning news and peril predictions to come. So where you want to be for fantastic Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates, so drop by regularly for more Y&R details. In a turn of events that has left the Young and the Restless fans breathless, the unthinkable has happened. Ian and Jordan have kidnapped the Newman family's precious baby, and Kyle Abbott has made a bold move that could change everything for him and Claire. Buckle up, because the drama is about to hit new heights, and this week's spoilers are packed with jaw-dropping twists. Ian and Jordan's dark plot, the kidnapping that shakes Genoa City. In an unexpected move, the notorious Ian and his accomplice Jordan have taken matters into their own hands and committed the unthinkable. They've kidnapped Newman's baby. The abduction of such a precious life sends shockwaves through Genoa City. But the burning question on everyone's mind, why? Ian, with his long history of sinister plots, has always been a master manipulator. His connection to the Newman family runs deep, and now he's set his sights on the ultimate revenge. Jordan, who has been an enigmatic presence in recent weeks, is clearly a willing accomplice in this nefarious scheme. Their dark intentions remain unclear, but one thing is for certain: the Newman family will never be the same again.